I always wanted a family. I was the youngest of 8 kids. And so I wanted a big family myself as well. But I saw how our family was struggling from a, poor middle class background living in Norway. So no one's really poor, but we were poor compared to Norwegian standards. And I always thought to myself that when I grow up, I'm going to make sure that I'm freakishly rich. That's just what's going to happen. It's a natural byproduct of a massive work ethic that I'm going to put in once I'm of age or old enough to massively work. Why? Because I wanted a family and I wanted to become a father, and I didn't want them to go through the same type of scarcity of resources that I had experienced as a child. Now, I had all sorts of resources, like when you really think about it, okay? I had everything that I stood in need of compared to, the vast majority of the world population. So for me to complain, it's ridiculous. However, I could have been richer, right? And I don't blame my dad. I'm actually very grateful for all of the hardships that he had and the suffering and the pain that he had to go through so that I could prevent that from happening for me and my own family, right? Those that go before us are an example to us for better or for worse. And those, bad examples, although he was a good example from being a good man and from leading his family a great, as well as he could, I also learned a lot of things of how I didn't want it to be. And us being in a poverty situation was kind of something that I would not accept for my life, as an adult. So there started the journey towards success. And I want to share with you guys my thoughts on fatherhood and the 80-hour work week in terms of prioritization of time. Because yeah, cool, you want to get rich, but are you going to put that above fatherhood? Are you going to spend much more time out there serving people, making deals, contacting strangers, and failing forward? So a lot of your time in business is waste of time because you don't know what you don't know, and you're also looking for specific things and you can't find it. Those that are in business understand what I'm talking about because you are continuously on the search. Eventually you get on the search of finding the right people to work with. But in the beginning of your journey, you're just trying to find your next lead, your next client, your next paycheck. But eventually, once you get to a certain level in business where you don't need a new client as much anymore because you have sufficient for your needs, and you're now instead in the replacement game, you now are looking for sons in many ways to take over your business and replace you with the expertise that you had, and you're trying to find people that are better than you, that evolved faster than you, that you can take this business, your business, to the next level. And so it's a finding game. And the vast majority of the time, you can't find what you're looking for. Because if you did, then you would become a multi-billionaire. Because Elon Musk's biggest complaint is that he can't find people to do the work that he wants them to do. Like, he can't find people with the proper experience, with the understanding of the concepts that are needed in order for him to send a rocket into space and land on Mars. Like, he hasn't found the people yet that are able to do that. If they were available, he'd give them $10 million or $100 million or whatever they wanted to get paid, because he wouldn't be able to do it without them. And he doesn't know if he's going to find that person, but he keeps looking, right? Unless he becomes, diversified with trying to solve the government's problems with Doge, right? But in general, this is how it works. You're failing forward the vast majority of the time in business. You want to do that instead of spending time with your kids and with your wife? Are you sure? Most of you guys who are watching this video are not fathers yet. So this is part 1 of your life. You will become a father. You want to become a father. You want to have a family one day. But do you want to have that in a poverty-stricken manner? Do you want to have kids and have your wife complain about we need diapers or we need whatever else that you might need, clothes, or the child needs whatever resources in order for them to get educated, for them to have hobbies, for them to have an enjoyable childhood, for them to get the resources to compete against other kids for, career success. Like, you want to be able to give your children at least opportunity. This is why I tell you to not have kids too soon, because you're putting yourself in a burdened position. You're trying to succeed, and we understand that success requires focus, right? Laser focus, like type of, the sun, not the rays that are diversified nicely for us to have a nice habitat on this wonderful earth. But we want laser focus where we channel all of the sun's power into one laser beam that just goes through everything. That's kind of what we're looking for when it comes to success in business. And the more children you have, the more problems you're going to have. So that diversifies your attention, and it diversifies your capacity and your decision-making processes and your monies in order for you to succeed big in business. Highly recommend that you put off becoming a father for as long as possible, but at the same time, keeping the dream alive so that there's a reason for you to get rich. Getting rich is not just so that you can get laid. That's lame. You want to get rich so you can establish your legacy, so you can have a large family, so you can provide for them easily, and for them to have the opportunities that you never had as a child, and for your women and children to be massively happy. You can have kids late into your 30s, 40s, 50s, and even 60s. There's even people gone beyond that, which is kind of crazy. But do you know what I'm saying? You do not need to get kids in your teenage years or in your 20s or even in your early 30s. Take a chill pill. You're fine. Build your financial freedom foundation first instead. That's 4 F's. Financial freedom foundation first. That's a pretty cool framework. I like that. Your teenage years and in your 20s is your preparatory time for you to get loaded, massively rich, preparing yourself for the rest of your life. Just like the habits that you attain in your youth when it comes to exercise in your teenage years and in your 20s. If you don't have those habits in place, what's going to happen? You're probably never going to start exercise as a 30-year-old and a 40-year-old and beyond. You're just going to become a weakling and remain a weakling for the rest of your life, most probably unless you have a scare of some sort, right? And then you finally start exercising. It's so much better to just set up the preparation and the foundation early on in life so that it's just part of who you are. Identities are very difficult to shape past 30 years old. You can do it, it just takes longer. And that is the time in life where you don't want things to take longer because you don't have much time left on the planet. Obviously, you have a lot of life left, right? If you're 40 years old, you're probably going to become twice as old. But you got to understand the compounding effect happens so much more effectively in your 20s, So start there to build a strong foundation of your habits, your identity, and building wealth. And that's why I speak about the 80-hour work week. It is something that needs to be established early on in your life. And if you go to school, college, how are you going to establish that habit? We're talking 3 to 5 to 9 years where you might not be instilling the habit of the 80-hour work week in you from the get-go. I'm working harder now than I ever have in my entire business career. That's pretty insane to think about. One, to be an example for you guys, but secondly, to also be an example for my kids. They need to see that I put in the work, and they need to see that it's not easy to succeed. It's not easy to get your financial freedom. It's going to take hustle, it's going to take effort, and as a result, they can't see me all the time. I love the richest man in Norway who passed away recently, Olav Thon, okay? Olaf Thon, if you want to look him up. He became 100 plus years old and he kept working until his dying day. Obviously, I didn't follow, keep up with how he worked the past few years. But I know back when I was in Norway 5 years ago, 97 years old, around that time, he was working. He had his company that he was building. He was building malls and he was building hotel chains. Bro, like that guy was so legendary. I want your life to be like that. I want you to be a legend. I want you to set up your life in a specific way and to become a father of many. Like imagine the richness of your life, the experiences that you're going to have of bringing great-grandchildren to the planet as a result of you having invested not only in your businesses, but also investing in your kids, because even though you're working the 80-hour work week, there still is time to invest in your kids. Here's the recap. I want you to understand that there's a sequencing to all of this, a prioritization, if you will, where there's a part 1 and part 2 and part 3. Part 1 is where you do not have kids. You do not become a father, and you simply build a massive financial foundation for the time when you are a father. This is the build-up stage, the pay yourself first stage of developing the skills to increase your income and then also massively stacking a portfolio for your reserves. It's non-negotiable. Part 2 is for you to find your woman to have your babies, and she's going to be so much better looking and so much healthier than what you would have found when you were not rich, right? It just makes sense, right? So that's going to give you healthier children, more beautiful children, which will attract a better tribe of potential suitors. If it's your daughters attracting a man that you are accepting into your family as your son-in-law, great. But also your sons are going to be capable of attaining better women as well. All of this is foundational upon you building up wealth early on in your days. And then part 3 is helping to give those kids an amazing childhood of memories and travel and, whoa, we did this and we did that and we had opportunities and we had resources and nothing was delayed for them other than making sure that they're not entitled and spoiled. Because you want them to have the 80-hour work week long term as well and for them to understand these concepts. And then you onboard them into, hopefully, them wanting to replace you in your business because you didn't push it on them. You didn't put massive expectation on them because you knew psychology. You understood what they need in order for them to make the decision about what they want to do with their lives. As a result, they become amazing sons and daughters, and then you get your legacy. This is the sequencing of it. And you have to understand that this takes preparation. This is your life's work. Don't mess it up. I know you can do this. You will become a great father, and you know that. But you'll become even better if you set it up the right way with a strong foundation. I believe in you. I'll see you guys in the next one.